about? Come here, come here.
We are back at it again, and today I'm with Eric, the owner of East Austin Succulents. Welcome back to another Cactus Quest video. I'm Hunter, your host. And today we are at the off-site growing, what would you call it?
This is our grow houses, yeah.
All right, so this is where you keep all the stuff that you're prepping to bring to the nursery. Mm-hmm. Quite a handful of greenhouses. So, like, how do you have it all broken down here?
When we started, there was just this giant house, which is like the old Vickery wholesale, and I had a plant sale in my backyard. And the
This
guy,
big one right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy that was renting this spot to set up a nursery, he said, hey, you can rent part of my greenhouse. And so I said yes, and I rented like the first couple, 10% of that,
right.
and then more and more and more, and then eventually bought the place and just built all the greenhouses and stuff like that. Next door, the house became for sale, and it always had all these weed trees blocking all of our light. So we had to buy that, and then we've built a bunch of greenhouses there and moved in there.
Took the trees out, I'm assuming.
Yes, first thing. This is a carport greenhouse, and we have a video on YouTube on how to build these. They'll put the frame up in 15 minutes, and then you just set your posts and put your door in, and you can do polygal walls if you want. But in Texas, we have really hot summers, so we want high greenhouses.
Message!
Because you only sacrifice a little bit of heat in the winter, but you gain a ton of cooling to let the air flow over your plants. And then the short greenhouses we have over here, I just didn't want to make the neighbors mad by building a big greenhouse.
Sure.
So I was looking at this area like, what can we do here? And we just settled on these 3 short houses. We just do succulents and just try to focus on rare. I want our customers to always be finding new things. So I'm an addict and a hunter of new things. So that's what I'm going for, whatever is. And there are things that I'm really into, and I go through phases. I go through a Sansevieria phase and then an agave phase, and I have to have every single one. And then I get into Haworthias, and I'm hybridizing Haworthias. Yeah, I love me some Haworthias. And I love Haworthias because they don't grow very fast. So you can just leave this house alone for so long and then come in and be like, oh man, he's looking good. And you know, like, oh, this is getting bigger. And I need to remove all these flowers because I'm not really using the flowers. But look at like something like that. They just color up. They change colors through the season, and they're manageable. You know, I can leave these in their pots for so long, but still come in and just things are interesting.
Wow.
And I do use some Akadama. I used to use a lot of Akadama, but it's so expensive. But I've learned that you gotta be sifting. You know, if this stuff is really fine,
Yeah.
things can't breathe well, and I've lost a lot of plants. So I end up sifting a lot in here. Starting to use Turfus instead of Akadama and just shale. It's just so expensive to be potting everything up in Akadama, although I love it, you know.
So what, have you noticed any differences between Turfus and Akadama? In terms of how it functions as a soil
amendment? I don't know that we've been using it that long and done specific experiments. Really, with all soil mixes, it's just your watering that really matters the most. Certain mixes you gotta water a lot, certain mixes like we don't hit them as hard, and pot size, of course.
Yeah, I really like the Haworthias. This is a pretty crazy collection here.
Yeah, I like the truncatas and the mahaniis and anything with color, anything with lines like Bayeri.
Yeah, Bayeri. Bayeri is like, I think, probably among my favorites in Haworthia, just because to me they look like microchips. Like I always say, like if let's see.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
like
something computer.
If there was gonna be plants in that movie Tron, they would be Haworthia Bayeris.
Yeah, lines there.
You see what I'm saying, folks?
Yeah, let's go.
They look like microchips. But this also is insane right here. Like it's dry as a bone, but it literally looks wet.
Look at this
so
guy.
wild.
Look at the line.
Yeah, I was looking at this one here. Cool. This one is insane too.
What is that? That's Dracula. Oh yeah, we have some little Draculas. That one's good though.
Everybody go comment on Rennie's YouTube and tell her to do a video with me.
Yeah, I went to Rennie's and, well, I spent a lot.
Do you have any challenges growing them here in Texas with the humidity
absolutely.
and the heat?
It's hot, man. And I think what I need to do is stop top dressing with shale. I think that shale gets too hot. I think even like adeniums and the Dorstinias that we have in full sun don't like that top. I don't know. I would love to learn from people if eliminating top dress, because I want top dress because we have retail too, so I don't want white stuff showing. I want it pretty on top, and I don't want weeds, but I wonder if it's a layer of heat that things don't like. So a lot of our bigger Haworthias that I'll just top with shale have crapped out in the summertime, and I wonder if that could be a factor.
Certainly. I mean, it makes sense that it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, because like I know when with certain plants, like I was making a lot of black pottery, and it's like you can't really have the black pottery out in the sun full blown because those roots just cook.
Yeah.
In fact, there's like this old Czech guy in my neighborhood who, like, I go to his house and this guy be walking around in flip-flops and a Speedo the entire time I'm there showing me plants. It's quite interesting. But in the Los Angeles area where it's extremely hot in the summer, it's real dry and real hot. It's not uncommon to have like a week or two during the peak of summer where it's in the 106, 107 to like really up into the teens. And this guy actually has many things that are double potted. So they're in one terracotta pot, and then that terracotta pot is put inside another terracotta pot with like an inch of soil between the two, specifically to kind of insulate the roots.
Oh my God, that's a game changer, man. I want to try that. It sounds like a game changer. It makes so much sense.
I'm not doing it just because it's just too much. But I mean, I also don't have I don't have my plants in the same area, and they're not sitting out in the sun cooking like that.
I mean, this last summer we were burning euphorbias. Even it was so hot for so long that we were melting stuff that was out in full sun. So this year I'm going to actually put a shade cloth on the euphorbia house, which sounds ridiculous. You know, they love heat and sun. But just based on some of the stuff we lost last year,
oh my goodness, look at that little thing.
I'm gonna do it. But we have a lot of shade cloth on this one, and we have a tree.
What percentage of shade cloth is this? Do you know?
You know, I mix it up. Sometimes we have double. Mostly I'm buying 40% for different houses. But you know, this is like a 20% on this side where we get hardly anything. And then this is like a 40 over here.
That's for the end, like the long afternoon sun?
Yeah, I guess so. Right now it's cloudy, so we kind of wish there wasn't any shade, but you know, we're rich enough to buy removable stuff. This is Allie.
Hi, Allie.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, I'm Hunter. All right, so this is the agave house?
Yeah. We do euphorbias and agaves in here.
And are agaves popular out here? Like, are they?
Not necessarily. They don't sell that well, but you know.
Because I would imagine they don't do great as like a landscape plant out here with the kind of weather you get. Like, it seems like they'd be susceptible to a lot of pests, and then the cold weather would be hard
I mean,
for
even
them.
when snowpocalypse happened, even Proto-Americana and Americana were freezing. You know, all over town you could just see agaves that have been there for 30 years dead. So I love any kind of simplex variegated or ismensis variegated. And, you know, white rhino, a full-grown, good-looking one of those is the finest plant on earth. But we always cut and split those, so we won't have like good looking ones because we want them to pup. Seems like once they get to like an 8-inch size, they stop pupping, so we cut them in half, and we could like
is that what you've done here?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, this has been cut for sure, and then it'll start pupping out.
So you can kind of see, like, basically, I mean, I don't know if that's what you guys did here, but I know like on some of these I've seen where they actually will cut the agave like straight down the middle.
Well, we'll core it first.
Okay. And
then cut it in half. Where's it? I know we have some examples.
And you can see, so it causes all these little offsets to start shooting out.
It's the same thing. It's basically like if you've ever seen somebody hot nail their cactus, where you damage the growing meristem, and then that basically puts it into like stress mode, and it starts to create offsets where it normally wouldn't in order to kind of survive because it feels like it's dying, which it kind of is. The main plant is essentially.
We don't have a ton of packies or all the same type that are all blooming at the same time, so I'm just making some hybrids unlabeled, and if they grow, they look cool, then we'll sell them as the EAS hybrid. You know, it is always better to label your crosses, but you get what you can take.
And
you
so,
know.
what are you using?
This fishing string, but if you look in there, there's a little hole on the side where there's 5 little holes. And actually, Eric, if you can give me some scissors, I can show the inside. And so you have to twist it to get it into the middle, and you pull it out, and you know, making crosses and not labeling them. And I've definitely gotten a little bit upset at myself for not keeping track, but it's just fun for me to just make stuff and see if it grows. It's pretty easy once you figure out how to do it. You know, just get it in there on one of the sides, you twist it, and you pull it out slowly, and it's in the middle, and you'll get the pollen. And then just do it into another one from a different plant. So yeah, pretty easy.
Interesting.
And
So
we've
it
got,
has to be as thin as a fishing wire?
yeah, or some people use cat whiskers, I guess, but fishing wire is fine. There's a little seed pod started.
Interesting.
But you know, Mike Keeling was such an amazing guy, keeping track of everything, and people really appreciate it when you keep track of stuff. So
Started on pachygraphs. An easy thing, if you can find one, is just find a big brevicoli, and then you can just slice big hunks off. Those grafts are really successful versus seedlings that are kind of trouble, and you always have to remove the runners off of the sides. But yeah, there's an example that's probably a cut off this big boy.
Nice.
And this was flowering. There's a nice one. Woo! Getting fat. That's cool.
And you're grafting on the lameri?
Yeah, or gay eye.
Whoa, it's got very, dude, what is this thing? Hold on, I'm gonna pull this out.
I don't know what that is.
Well, it's a phyllo.
Yeah,
Oh, let's see.
maybe I could get it.
Hold on. If I wasn't trying to film it and do it, I'd be able to do it a little easier. But all right, so let's see. I'm gonna say what, hexadrophorus?
Yeah, probably.
And then
but
it's doing some very bizarre pancake edition growth style. And it's got a little variegation.
yeah, that's probably why it's still here. It's probably.
Variegated plants are sickly, so you know they're worth less money and they're kind of ugly. So if you have any and you want to get rid of them because you hate them, send them to me.
Here's one of our root training experiments. You know.
Oh, nice. Over the bottle cap?
Glue a cap or nail it. Yeah. Some of these little goji black type things, so you can see underneath. There's probably a bottle cap or like a big piece of styrofoam in that one.
Yeah.
I went down the rabbit hole and watched all those guys in India, and then I started cutting up all the arabicums. See underneath, there's probably a bottle cap or like a big piece of styrofoam in that one.
Yeah.
I went down the rabbit hole and watched all those guys in India, and then I started cutting up all the arabicums. But
Gene and Jane in Tucson at Plants for the Southwest do that with the with all those ficus and stuff.
yeah, I'll show you a bunch of. Gene gave me that idea for the ficus on rocks. Here's my little ficus experiment on rocks. You know, you wrap them in moss, and then the moss kind of falls away, and then you have cool rocks under.
Yeah, that is rad.
And wet. These, you know, my mentor Carl told me that these kind of live in water. So you just water these all the time. And you have to cut them back a lot. They get real big and bushy, but you want to focus on their body. And when they're too loose, you know, you can't sell them. Nobody wants to buy them anyway, and it takes up tons of table space for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I'm doing this, but now I'm in it, so. But we have cool rocks under there. Look at that one wrapping around him. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, and this is cool. The staging them like this is awesome because this is how, like, when you see them, I've only seen them in Baja, but the ones I saw in Baja, you literally see the roots doing that. That's how they grow in the field.
But I don't think he even cuts them. We just kind of lay them on top of the rocks with tons of moss and wrap it, you know.
I think that's what they do too, because I've seen some of the ones that they have that are like, you know, still wrapped, and it's like how people would do like the staghorn ferns. They basically do that, but on the outside to close it all in.
Yeah, and we go to the gem show in Tucson, so we get real cool rocks to put them on.
Don't go work the gym show, brother.
So if anyone knows what to do with these, I've tried slabbing and pucking and cutting. Look at this cutting, I probably cut that a year ago, and it won't do anything. So whoever's shipping out these, like, how are they making these? It's just a mystery. Crested poison eyes. These are really cool. Oh my God, I got this from Madeline. Shout out to the late Madeline Grigsby, who just
rest
passed.
in peace.
This was under a table, so if you have serious granadensis and it doesn't look this good, throw it in some shade, and then boom, all those lines start happening.
Wow, that's wild. I actually do. I actually have Sirius grenadensis.
Yeah.
And of course, I got it from Madeline at Grigsby's. It was one of the few plants that she would ever sell me. I tried so hard to buy plants, and every time she's like, no, not that.
Yeah.
So, but I did get that. Did manage to get a couple of those away from her.
I can sense that it might rain, and then you won't be able to hear anything. Does this seem long-winded?
No.
Oh, look at this. This was my idea, to graft sections of Robusta, and they totally worked, you know?
Wow, that is a wild.
I was just like, how can I make something out of this big pad? And I'm just gonna try sections, and they all work. This is a shade structure that we're gonna try this year, because these tables, you know, we had to have a gap here between the fence so that you can reach behind here and pull weeds. And with our shade line, we just had a line with shade. We were burning the first foot. We built this structure so that we can have it totally shaded, and we won't have to rebuild it. And it'll be, you know, I can put swings on it for my kids so he can swing into the stenos and whatnot.
What is this thing right here?
It changes forms. It starts like this. It is Rebeccae.
Is it?
Yeah. So it starts off boring, but then it can get all stripy and cool with some size. And I have good examples of the boring part versus the awesome, well, that kind of has it too, but how it starts boring and then changes forms.
I have Rebeccae, and even the little ones I have that cut. So I was literally, when I was looking at it, it made me think of Rebeccae.
Yeah.
But I have never seen it like this.
Yes. It's so good. And look, this was just like a slice.
That's crazy.
Like a middle section that made Mickey Mouse ears. That's a good one.
Pachypodium drachei, huh?
Yeah, there are some grafts that I do that just never even work, so
should change it to Kendrick.
Need to focus on the things that,
they not like us.
Have you heard that Mexican OT yet?
Yeah.
Oh my God. For me, he's the greatest ever right now. He was rapping when he was a little kid, and I'm old. I grew up on NWA and Eazy-E. And like these areas right here, they're all labeled Pelican Tri-Finger because those are the seeds I bought, but none of them are doing a Tri-Finger, which is unfortunate. So some seeds that you buy, you know, the recessive alleles and whatnot, you're not gonna get the treasure things that you're always looking for. Yeah, hybrid.
Is it from the same seed batch or no?
Yeah, they might have. No, this is different. Yeah, I don't think we made those seeds, but here's some smaller grafts.
Oh, nice.
One really easy, if you're just gonna get started on pachy grafts, an easy thing, if you can find one. All right, yeah, this house is kind of boring, but serves a function.
So this is Roy, Texas_cactus on Instagram, and this is, so tell me, this is like, you live on site, right? And then you kind of are like, you help manage the greenhouses, and then this here is
Personal.
your personal collection.
Yeah.
And so everything in here is for sale, is that correct?
No. No, the only way to have a cool collection is don't sell it.
So there you go. All right, so tell me, what do you got? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I love the Mexican miniatures, man. The Ericarpus, Turbinacarpus, Epithelantha, Astrophytum.
Strombo cactus?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, man. Wow, there's some nice looking stuff in here.
Yeah, I try to keep my Ericarpus potted up together, little pollination stations.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's Albiflora.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I've got two. I've got one small one here and this one here, and so I'll pollinate those two to make more with the white flower.
That's awesome. Wow, I'm just kind of soaking in it. What is this mammillaria back here?
Oh, you know, I'm not too sure. I was asking the guys at Mesa Garden. That's just passed down from an old collector that passed away, unfortunately.
That's a nice one. It looks almost like microthele, but it doesn't have the bifurcating heads.
Okay, yeah, you're exactly right, because that's what they said. Aaron said over at Mesa Garden.
Holy cow, those are gorgeous.
Those are from seed, actually.
That's the Yaronegi?
Yeah, I grew those from seed.
Man, how old are they?
About 8.
Dude, those are looking beautiful.
Yeah.
Have they been in those? How long have they been in those pots?
Since there was probably seedlings.
Nice. So do you start these under grow lights, or you do it all out in the greenhouse?
Once it gets warmer, I'll put them in a bag and I'll do them in the greenhouse.
Okay.
2 4-inch pots like this.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And just under the bench?
No, usually I put them up here, but those strombos, they're a little sensitive, so I have those down there.
I apologize for the lighting. It's starting to get a little stormy out here, so you know we got gray clouds, so
It's a little, lighting is a little deficient, but you guys still get the idea.
look at this fucking thing, dude. What in the hell?
Yeah, I got that for 40 bucks.
That's the score of the century, dude.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a cool picture of you.
Dude, that is so cool. So fat at the base. It's like it sort of just switched directions and grew an extra rib.
Yeah, you know, actually, I usually try to keep it out in full sun. You can tell right here where it was in more shade, the trichomes are a little bit more separated.
Interesting.
And then, you know, I put it out in the sun and then it gets, so that's also why it's a little skinnier, but I try to regulate how much rain it gets.
Dude, I love it. Yeah, you and I have very similar tastes.
Like Turbinicarpus is my jam.
Yeah, man. I grew all these from seed. I got, you know, some Alonzoi hybrids that actually turned out variegated that are real cool, like right over there.
Do you know, is it OP or like open pollination, or do you know?
I do pollination, so that's Alonzoi with one of these Andersoni, and then this is like another one. And then these are actually Jawernigai with Andersoni, these two.
Oh, wow. How interesting.
There you go.
Yeah, I had a storm, an ice storm actually, 40 feet above. This freaking branch fell and crashed through here. All this got
Bent
covered
that?
in ice. Yeah.
Oh my God. Did you lose a bunch of stuff when it did that?
No, but it just took me a lot of time to cut up that freaking branch and clean off all the ice.
So I had in my hoop house, I got the same thing. I got like the heavy duty UV plastic. In mine, I had shade cloth hanging on the inside. So there's like a little pinhole leak, and
Yeah.
we had like a 5-day. It was like a storm where it was like cold in the 50s during the day, so like in the 30s and 40s at night, windy, super rainy. Little pinhole leak. It was
Yep.
dripping onto the shade cloth. The shade cloth, like a cloud, was soaking it all up. And once it got to its breaking point,
Yeah.
it started to drip, and then it dripped wherever the shade cloth was, and it landed all over my turbs, all over my areas, all over my
Yeah.
astrophytums. The Copiapoas, I was not worried about getting the winter rain, but everything else I was definitely concerned about. And the thing that I was fascinated by is that everything kicked into growth. And so now this winter, I watered all through the winter.
Yeah, you guys
And,
have more mild winters in California though.
yeah, for sure, and we don't have a lot of humidity, although where I am, it's a little more humidity than like LA proper, but yeah, it's interesting what the plants can withstand. I always think they can take more than we know.
I showed this to Joey, but this is a grafted Epithelantha unguispina that actually came from this plant. And now I've had this plant for about 10 years, and you know, you just graft it, and I just take pups like this guy right here,
Yeah.
degraft.
Crazy.
This one I really love, and I'm happy that it rooted because I made this pot. It's pretty cool.
Nice, man.
But yeah, it's in there. It's got some good roots.
That's awesome.
Like these guys right here, these are degrafts.
Nice.
So like every year I'll cut this and it comes back.
How long have you been in the cactus collecting, growing, underbelly?
I joined the Austin Cactus Club about 2012.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So you've been at it for a while.
Yeah, and I just wanted to meet every grower in the area. I met some awesome people and made a lot of friends and stuck with it. Dude, check out this right here. Just volunteers. You know, I love to pollinate, and then Turbinicarpus will just make their own little, grow on their own there. If I label it T, it's just a hybrid. But then of course, when I'm putting the seeds down, some of these Lukenbergia just spilled in there.
Feel free to follow him on Instagram, Texas_cactus.